What's up, everybody? Jason here from Rolling Parts Supply with another episode of Maintenance Mondays. Today we're going to be talking about corrosion, what it is, and what you can do to help mitigate its effects and extend the life of your equipment. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, so today we're talking about corrosion, and in our sport and in this type of corrosion is going to be galvanic corrosion. There are a few criteria that have to be met in order for it to be considered galvanic corrosion, and those are there got to be two dissimilar metals. In our case, carbon fiber is a conductive material, so we'll change that to there has to be at least two dissimilar materials. They have to be in contact with each other, and there needs to be some electrolyte bridge. And obviously for us, that's water. Fresh water, it's a little less conductive. Salt water, it's a lot more conductive. Most of us know that already. So if we think about the chemistry behind it, and I'm not going to get very in depth in it. A, I'm not a chemist, and B, it'll just be boring and be a terrible video. So, but briefly, I just want to talk about there's potential electrode potentials between these different materials, and here, yeah, and you can find these charts online or wherever, and there's voltage potentials for each of these materials. The further they are away from each other, the higher the likelihood, or the higher the potential of this corrosion happening. So if we look at the two materials that are next to each other or in contact with each other, two dissimilar materials in contact with each other with some electrolyte bridge, that system is going to act just like a battery, right? You've got your anode, which in our case is going to be aluminum. It's going to give off electrons to the cathode, which will either be carbon fiber or stainless steel in our situation. And that reaction, there are actually two reactions that happen, a water breakdown and an oxygen breakdown. But each of those reactions creates what's called aluminum hydroxide. So you may be wondering, well, Jason, how do I even know that this is happening in my boat? And you may not know, and it may not be visible. But the easiest and most obvious way to look at it, especially if you have side mount riggers, but even top mount wing riggers, take the riggers off, and where the riggers meet the boat, is there some sort of white flaky substance? Is it kind of a pasty if it's wet, or jelly-like? That's aluminum hydroxide and the byproduct of this galvanic corrosion. And those things need to be checked on regularly and fixed or somehow mitigated, which we'll talk about at the very end of the video, in order to keep it from just eating through your riggers. Now, the other side to these corrosions is good material, right? The aluminum riggers or the carbon riggers or the carbon or fiberglass boat is going to be what it is. But the mounting hardware that you mount those things with, you have the choice of what that is. And the biggest choice that you have is you need to be using stainless steel, but the choice comes into what type of stainless steel. And the two most common types are 304 stainless and 316 stainless. There are all different grades of each of those, but 304, 316 stainless. Now, what 316 stainless has is that's majorly different outside of percentages of chromium and zinc is what's called molybdenum. And this material helps create a much more corrosive resistant finish and hardness in material, especially when it comes to saltwater applications. If you look through the research, 304 has a corrosive reaction to a saltwater solution at just 100 parts per million of a saline solution. 316 has the same reaction, but only when it gets to 2,000 parts per million. So just the physical properties of 316 stainless just make it an ideal material to use for connecting the parts of our boats together. There are all kinds of arguments as to why or why not, but 316 stainless is by far the most used stainless steel, especially in saltwater applications. There would be no reason not to have it for freshwater applications as well. This process is still going to happen no matter what this bridge is connecting the two. It just may take one longer than the other to do it. So we know that 316 has the advantage. We know that this is going to happen one way or another. What are some things that you can do to help mitigate those effects, or or at least slow it down? I guess there are ways that you could stop it, but it would take pretty large outfitting or re-outfitting of boats in order to make it happen. Which I guess at that point is on a manufacturer level about isolating the carbon fiber from different materials or whatever, which there are a few companies that do, and the majority of them don't. But first and foremost, especially in saltwater, wash your boats. You got to be washing your boats. Freshwater, putting good clean water on it to start with to get the mud off of it, or just dirty water, the grime is really good. I would say if you have the ability to wash your boat daily, or at least rinse your boat off daily, you should. If you're in salt water, it's a mandatory in order to do, else that salt is going to just eat through all of your equipment. If you're in salt water and you wash it off and you're doing just a little bit of extra maintenance, try to neutralize that corrosion. A lot of people use a vinegar and water mixture, baking soda, whatever, in order to help just neutralize that salt and that corrosion from continuing the damage on the boat. I think that's good. Is it something that you can do every day? I've seen and been a part of teams that use the weed killer sprayers, the pump sprayers, to help spray down boats and get a little bit of vinegar on there to at least slow it down or inhibit it from continuing at that point. A regular spray bottle would work just fine. Anything like that to just help neutralize that corrosion from happening. Next, protect and try to isolate the carbon fiber from the metal parts, aluminum and stainless steel. You'll see some boat manufacturers on wing rig boats, or even on side mount boats, they have some sort of protector between the mounting bolts and the hull itself. I've seen manufacturers put down like non-skid type sticky stuff on the gunnels, top and bottom, to help isolate it. All that is for help with this corrosion and breaking down of the aluminum more than anything else. You could put down a piece of packing tape and cut little holes in it. You know, put a little slit in it, a little X over the hole where you put your bolt through. Anything like that. Thick 3M adhesive tape would work. I guess duct tape would work. I don't think I would do it because it leaves residue on the boat. But you know, anything to put a barrier between the aluminum and the carbon fiber. Since these two have the biggest potential differences, that's going to be where it happens the most. And in all honesty, the resin and epoxy that boat manufacturers use on the gunnels is a little bit thicker than it is everywhere else, and that in and of itself helps protect it. Over time, that resin, if a rigger is just rubbing on it just a little bit, it'll just eat through that resin eventually, and then you'll have aluminum sitting right on carbon fiber in water, and it's going to go to that corrosive place really quickly. So taking care of your boat and your gunnels, making sure that they stay clean and they're not being rubbed raw, is important. Now, when you run a bolt through the gunnel, through the holes on the gunnel to mount it, that stainless steel is going in direct contact with the carbon fiber where it runs through it. Now, there are a couple of boat manufacturers that put like a nylon insert or a titanium insert into carbon riggers or the gunnel itself, and that actually separates the two materials, which then you're not going to have galvanic corrosion. I think that's a great idea. I think every boat manufacturer should do that. Is it probably a little bit more expensive for them to do? Yes, but for the customer and consumer long term, I think it's going to help create more robust boats for the future. And then you know, having good stainless steel, again, having 316 stainless, I think is, again, almost a necessity. I've seen a lot of boats in my day, and occasionally I'll find it on one of my boats, and I have no idea how it got there, but a rusted washer, like a completely rusted washer. So it's either just some sort of basic steel or galvanized or whatever that was just, with water constantly and salt water especially, that it completely rusted, and that's going to create other problems for you. If you have a bolt that does that and it's run through the boat and through the carbon fiber, again, it's just going to make things worse. So making sure you have really good stainless steel. And it's, as much as people talk about, well, 316 is so much more expensive than 304, it's really not if you know where to find it. All of the stainless steel that we carry for rowing parts supply is 316 stainless. And it's probably going to be cheaper than most 304 stainless that you're going to find at a big box store, Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace, whatever. If you're get an employee discount somewhere, probably not. But in general, I think our 316 stainless is cheaper than anywhere else that you can find. And in fact, if you can find it at a normal box store that takes normal customers and it's cheaper, let me know. And I will match that price. And then the last thing is just regular inspection and maintenance of your equipment. You can catch all of these little things early on. If you're rowing in salt water, that should probably be done very regularly. Weekly, you don't have to pull the riggers off. When I was coaching with salt water, we pull the boats apart and clean everything monthly. I would. Over Christmas break, everything would get dunked and soaked in a neutralizing solution, just a vinegar and dish soap type solution, and just get soaked for days on end to just cut it all out on all of the parts. We do that in December, and then we do it over the summertime. And again, our monthly routine. Freshwater, probably just once a year, you'll be pretty good. But you should be doing it at least once a year if you're in freshwater. You can find the problems when they arise, so you can fix them quickly without them creating more damage, right? And if you have something that has a lot of damage, you can go ahead and fix it so it doesn't cause some sort of break or lapse in your training, and that boat's got to go down because of X, Y, or Z, or the rigger's been eaten through so far that it may not be stable for another race or whatever it is. So these are just some ideas and some things that you can do to help with the longevity of your equipment. I'm sure there are a dozen or more out there. If you have other ideas and things that you do at your club, let me know in the comments. Write them down below. I mean, all the way down to putting grease on them when you put them on, like stuff like that, just to help protect it. Let us know. A little bit of extra knowledge out there helps everybody. We're really enjoying doing this and giving you guys tips and tricks of things that you can do to help make your equipment better and make it last longer. To give you just maybe a little bit more confidence in what you're doing, so you don't have to worry about the one thing of your equipment happening. We really enjoy doing this and putting out these videos for you guys. So let us know if you like them or not. Well, until next time, good luck with your training and stay safe out there on the water.